Hi guys, welcome to Unreal Engine tutorial of components and collision using the WSAD key. So I'm going to use my W. That's me using my W now. That's S and that is D. Okay, and A, bring it back to the component that we have there. However, if I press spacebar, the ball should go on fire. Now press the spacebar. There we go. Look at that, guys. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you guys straight into Unreal Engine tutorial, and I'll show you how one of these was put together. See you guys shortly. Hi and welcome to Unreal Engine C++ tutorial of components and collision. In this tutorial, I'm actually going to show you guys how to create components, put them into an hierarchy, control them during gameplay, and use them to move your pawns around. So let's start by selecting C++. I'm going to select desktop. That will be the target, and the quality, that will be maximum. And in here, I'm also going to check starter content, make sure that it's checked, and here let's give it a name there. So mine is called how to underscore component, then click on create. Now that the development environment is ready, the first thing that I'm going to add to this project will be a pawn. So let's go into the C++ class here. Okay, and I'm going to just right click and select new C++ class. Click on that, and I'm going to select the pawn that is right there. Okay, the whole idea of this pawn is for you to hold component, move around every levels, and collide with solid objects. And I'm going to name it, let's call it colliding pawns. So let's click on next. Now give it a name, colliding pawns. There we go. Let's add an I here. There. Okay, I have my colliding pawns in place, and let's click on create. There we go. Okay, the development environment for the coding is now ready. So I'm gonna come in here, and right there just click on that, and there we go, the coding area, C++ development environment. And once the development environment is ready, come right here, you see the colliding pawns.h. However, if you can't see these two files, colliding pawns.cpp and .h, all you need to do is to come straight to the solution explorer here. You should be able to see your two files if you click on the source and click on the components, how to underscore components. There they are. Okay, there they are, those two files. So I'm going to now come straight to the public right underneath here, and I'm going to enter as follows. So that is going to be, is usually in uppercase. Let's say U properties, or U property, not properties. Enter parentheses and press enter. Then we then say class U particle. I'm going to need that particle for the fire. That would be system components, and we multiply that by, I say, our particle system. Enter parentheses. So that is the very first lines of code. So this very variable that I've just declared here, that we actually keep track of the particle system components that we will call later on. Okay, so let's continue Okay guys, the next thing we want to do now is to create a sphere component, static mesh component, spring arm component, and a camera component. Those 4 components listed will be created inside this colliding prone.cpp. However, before we can do that, we need to import the following libraries there. So to start with, I'm going to take care of this sphere component first. So let's come right down here inside this very constructor. So come right down here and we say use sphere components, then we say times sphere components, and that will be equals as follows. So that is my sphere component. Okay, since it's the physical structure that represents the interface itself, and I'm going to use it for the collision as well and the firework. So the sphere component is right there now guys. Now, and right underneath the sphere component, I'm going to create a static mesh asset. Okay, right underneath here, we create and position a mesh component so that we will see where the sphere is. Okay, and where did we get this component from? We actually get it from the starter content. So let me just drag it so that you can see it all. That is it. That is the location of the sphere in your starter component. Okay, the next thing we want to do now is to create that would be the particle system that we can activate and deactivate. So I'm going to come right down underneath the static mesh, and that is for my particle. We also need one for the camera as well. So, but see the location of the particle there. Have a good look at that. So we need one for our camera as well. So let's come right down here, and right there, those are the lines of code for the camera here. Okay, and up here I have the spring arm to give the camera a smooth movement. Okay, that is it right there. Okay, the handler that handles the camera, and underneath here is the camera. There we go. Alright, so we now need to take control of the default player, and as you can see, we now have collection of useful component attached to it, and we're ready to configure it for user control. So let's go to the Unity itself and make sure this one is saved first. Now we'll return to Unity editor. Okay, now let's go straight to the editor here. Click on the editor, and I want to get hold of the project setting. And what I need is, I'm going to come here. You see where we have engine, we need the input. That is the input right there. Engine and input, the child of the engine. So click on the input. We now need action mapping, this very one here. Okay, we're going to be using the action mapping to set the particle system, and we will also need the axis mapping. We'll use that to move our pawns. Okay, so Now let's take care of one of them first. In the actual mapping right here, you see the plus sign. Let's click on that plus sign. Okay, the actual mapping must be dropped down, and in here I'm going to enter particle. Let's call that particle toggle. So you enter particle toggle there and drop this particle toggle down, and in here we now want to select spacebar for it. So I'm going to come in here, drop this down. For the spacebar, now drop down the keyboard and let's look for spacebar. There we go. Now we have a spacebar right in there, and that is one down. Now let's take care of the mapping here. I'm going to click on the plus, access mapping, and right there. So in here I'm going to then enter move forward, and the shortcut for that is going to be W. So come right down here, drop that down, and let's look for the W. Let's come straight into the keyboard and look for W right here. There we go. Alright, so the W, the scale of the W is 1. Okay, so we also need to add another one that would be for the left. So you see this plus sign, click on that, and in here let's add S. So that would be for the one is to the right and one is to the left, or one is up and down. So the W for up and the S is for down. So drop this down and let's select the keyboard, and we need letter S there. That is fine, looking good. Okay, so we also need to add move right. So I'm going to click on this axis mapping again. There we go, that is move right. So I'm going to type in move right in there, and as for the move right, I will enter in here letter A. Let's grab the keyboard, scroll right down, and this will be letter A there. As for the letter A, the scale will be -1. And that reminds me, the S, the scale should be -1 as well. There we go. Right, so let's add another one to get hold of letter D. So click on the plus sign and drop that down. Let's look for the keyboard and let's grab hold of letter D there. Okay, that is fine. Now we also need to be able to turn. So on the axis mapping, I'm going to click on plus, and in here I'm going to select turn. Okay, as for the turn, I'm going to use mouse. Let's drop this down and select mouse. I actually need mouse X. There we go. Right, that is all taken care of. Okay, that is it all done for now. Let's close the project setting. And one other thing that we need to then do is I'm going to go to my content drawer here, and I want to right click in here. I want to select new C++ class, and the whole idea is to create a move component that will help in managing all of the input that I just put together in the project setting. So here, let's go to all class here, show all class. There we go. So inside the search bar here, I'm going to type in movement, and that will help to narrow down. Let's just go for movement there. So what we actually need is a move components. So that will be pawns move component, this very one. Okay, let's click on next, and let's then give it a name. I'm going to call it colliding pawns move component. Okay, that is fine. So let's come right down here and change that one to colliding pawns movement components. Okay, that's fine. So let's click on create. So that should create colliding mode movement component.h and .cpp. So click on create, and right there guys, that is the colliding pawns movement components ready. And this is .hy. What we have in here is the .cpp. Inside the .h, we now need the .a to actually trigger the tick. So in there I'm going to enter public visual void tick component. That is it right there. Okay, have a good look at just that single lines of code. There we go, and that takes care of that. So I'm going to make sure it's saved. Okay, now that we've taken care of the tick components, we also need to take care of the colliding mode or colliding pawns movement .cpp, which is right here, and here is the function that was created for that. Take it from up there and bring it down. Guess you guys can see that, and here as well. So that takes care of that. Save that. Okay, the next thing we need to do now is we need to actually create a colliding pawns movement component to store in all our new variables. And to do that, let's go straight into colliding pawns.h, and we'll make sure we add as follows. And right there we just created a class for our movement. So we're going to use this now to create an instance of a movement component. So let's go into colliding pawns.cpp right here, and we'll go right down here, right underneath here, there, and that should take care of the movements. Okay, that will create an instance of our movement component and tell it to update our root component as well. There. Now, and let's go into the colliding pawns.h here. We need the visual U movement component. So right underneath here, that would be the visual movement component. That is fine. So the whole system is coming up now, and right inside the colliding pawns.cpp here, we will need to add the definition for our override. So let's, and that should take care of the override. That is U pawn movement multiplied by a colliding pawn. Okay, and gets the components. That is it taken care of. Save that. Right. So with that done, I will now go into the colliding pawns.h here, and what I want to then achieve is to create the movement of the pawns component. So right here, the first thing I'm going to say void move forward, and I'm just going to enter a float axis value. There, that's my very first one. I want to repeat the same thing for the move right and so on. So let's just copy this, paste, 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 and that will be move right, and followed by turn. If you guys can still recall the setting in the project setting, that is it. I'm taking care of it now. So finally, the next one here is going to be particle there, enter parentheses there, and that is all done for the pro movements. Let's save it. So as you can see, you will see on the line, because I haven't make use of all of these variables. So to use them, I'm going to go straight into the colliding points.cpp, and right underneath here, let's enter the definition for those functions that I've just created. There, I'm gonna have to speed that up. There we go. Those are the definition, the function for each of these that I've just created, and there they are. Let's save that. Okay, that is for move forward, move right, turn, and particle toggle. Right, save that. Okay, so all that is left for us to do now is to bind our function to the input event. So let's go right up here. Okay, we should be able to, right here, see where we have void a colliding pawns, set up play input components. Right here, let's get it bind there. Alright, let's see, why do we have that single error there? Okay guys, let's check out the colliding prawns.h. I think I may have spotted the error right here. That's a mistake, so I'm just going to correct that to input components. So let's go back in here, and there the error is gone. So I'm going to save that now, and let's go to the solution explorer and get these. Okay, let's just right click on it and select build. Oh, that is fine, build is successful, there is no error. Now let's go back to the Unreal Engine editor right there. So what we're going to do now is you will come straight into your C++ class folder, double click on your file name, and right there, that's your code. Drag your code and just drop it right in there. So I'm going to kind of like drop it here, there. Okay, I think that's how the camera has positioned it. Let's move this so that we can see it all a little bit more. Okay, let's try it out now that we've added the instant of the colliding prawns on board. So I'm going to click on play, and we should be able to use the WSAD to move the ball around. You see that? And let's make sure you guys are able to see it. And if I press on the space bar, I'm actually rotating the whole development environment with my mouse now. Okay, so I'm going to move the ball here, come back here before I drop it, and if I dare press the space bar, the ball should go on fire. There we go, I've just pressed the space bar. Look at that. That is what the tutorial is all about. You see the particle is now on fire. So with that guys, that's how to create your own C++ component and collision tutorial. So with that guys, I'm going to call it the end of this tutorial. I suppose you all enjoyed, and please do subscribe to my channel, and there's going to be more tutorial on Unreal Engine and even in Unity as well. So you all have a nice day now, and bye for now.